Man, these ancient spiritual authors, there have been so many prophets, sages, and saints throughout human history, and it happened so long ago that there's some question or doubt oftentimes. Was something really written by one person? Is a particular spiritual book really the result of several authors? It's hard to unwind it, but I think the more that we meditate and pray and we seek wisdom in this present moment, that it's the message, it's the principle that shines through, independent of who wrote it. I guess we might lean on the principle of principle before personality. The truth is the truth, and various personalities throughout time have uh, gotten our attention with their capacity to express it. But anyway, the reason I bring it up is our friend Patanjali, the yoga sage, who did a lot of writing apparently, but some people say that he was multiple people. Maybe he had multiple personality disorders. But in the Yoga Sutra, his seminal work, he outlines the 8 limbs of yoga, which are well known in the world today. You may have practiced many of them, but in another chapter of the Yoga Sutras, it's kind of like it almost seems like somebody else is writing it, but he kind of goes, you know what? All you need is these 3 things. Well, that's convenient. If there's one thing I like, it's economy of movement and effort. I want as much bang for my buck as I can get. So he kind of narrows down the access to yoga or bliss or ecstasy or samadhi, which means conscious union with God at the highest level. He narrows it down to 3 things. Today, I want to talk about one quality. And since this is 6 minutes to enlightenment is the name of this, I got about 2 minutes to talk about it. But the quality, he mentions 3 qualities to do the deal, damn it. And the one we're going to talk about today is tapas, T-A-P-A-S, 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 tapas. Sounds like delicious little yummy potato things you might get as an appetizer at Applebee's, but tapas is actually, here's the best definition I've ever heard because I came up with it, but you come up with yours. It's called, I would define it as sustained determined action over a long period of time. Patanjali very clearly says, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that competency, excellence, realization, capacity, function, getting good at anything requires tapas, T-A-P-A-S, sustained, determined action over a long period of time. It sounds obvious, but it's not quite so obvious. When I get on the plane and instead of turning right to go down the aisle, when I look left and I look in the cockpit and I see the captain and when I look at her, I want to see that, it's like, I don't want that to be the first day that she's ever flown. I bet that she has 10,000 hours on that craft. That's what I want. When I go to see the eye doctor, I don't want somebody who's just stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last weekend or printed something off the internet on how to do an eye procedure. The list goes on and on. So tapas, of course, there's mercy and grace in what's bestowed upon us. I heard a fascinating story the other day. I'm not an expert on this part, on any part of the Bible, but this particular chapter is just gobbledygook in my head. But I heard a guy talking, and he said in the chapter called Deuteronomy, apparently there's this one dude who's kind of messes up, and he gets sent to the center of the earth for being a gigantic screw up, apparently. But his opinion was, why is Moses and his friends getting all the attention? Why do they get so much oblation? And we're all equals. And he's the guy that ends up being, committing the largest sin and going to the center of the earth. Feel free to leave a comment or let me know more about this story. But he was very wrong in that he assumed that we all had the same state of consciousness. We all are divine beings, but we have different levels of accomplishment or realization of our own consciousness. Doesn't make us better or worse, but it makes us more of who we are, and it makes you more of a person who has, well, it's the lady captain on the airliner with the 20,000 hours rather than some guy just staggering onto the plane that watched a YouTube video or has done gaming online about flying an airplane. So it's the same with spiritual practice. If we stick with it hour after hour, week after week, day after day, something's going to come upon us that's of tremendous value. And Patanjali spoke of this 2,300 years ago when he said, one of the three great qualities is tapas. One of the places I'm really learning this right now is music. I've been at music 2 years. I should have started younger, but over the last 2 years, I've averaged at least 3 hours a day, probably four, but that equals about 2,000 hours of musical practice in 2 years. Now, it's said to be an outlier, you have to have 10,000 hours. So I'm not even close, and it shows, but at least I'm employing tapas, and whether in this lifetime or the next lifetime, I'll be the kind of musician that you'd want to go and pay money to see rather than the one you get headphones that have more powerful noise canceling qualities. Anyway, tapas, what do you think about it? Let me know what you think. Have a great day. We'll visit tomorrow.